Okay, we are live. Everybody, my name is Bahzad,
My name is Teresa.
and we are broadcasting live from Yokohama, Japan to bring to you the world's greatest live stream, the Wonder Looper live stream. That's right. It is Monday morning here for us in Japan, Sunday evening for many of you out there in the West. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. It's a good one. It's a sunny day here in Yokohama, but it's getting chilly.
Very cold.
Very cold, but we're bundled up. We've got some double heavyweight action here. You can see Reese is wearing an oldie but a goodie.
We talked about the potential new color, and my argument was that we already done that color.
Yeah, but
check
we'll
to
we'll,
see.
we'll check to see who's nostalgic for this. Maybe
Yeah.
if we keep it the same, tweak it a little bit, we'll see. But
Yeah.
British English racing green in the double heavyweight. I want to have a color like this or this back again. We're going to talk about it in today's stream. That's for sure. We're going to talk about new labels for the ultimate Pima. So the samples just came in. So we're going to show off those. We're gonna get your reaction, see what you guys think of that. We're going to talk about some samples that will go back up on the website or available for sale very soon. We're going to talk about the distribution of that. We're going to talk about baby cashmere. So we've got all the baby cashmeres are delivered. Thanks God. And we have a handful, not many. They will be available for those who've been waiting for one. So either you missed out on the pre-order or you heard about it later or whatever it is, we might have something for you. And then we're going to talk about the future of baby cashmere, maybe a little bit today because we still have a lot of planning with that one. So let us know your thoughts, everybody. We're here to answer your questions, all that good stuff. So let us know where you're tuning in from in the chat, and we'll get this party started.
Yeah.
Right.
We also, we dropped a new video,
Right.
which was not a constant thing. It's a new thing for this year.
Yeah.
We don't know how often we're gonna do that. Hopefully
yeah.
weekly.
Yeah.
I think that's the hope.
Hopefully weekly. So yeah, we did drop sort of a little up. We've had a couple of like warehouse sort of update videos in the past, but I really wanted to create something a little bit more vlog-like, a little bit more edited. There was a little bit of editing in that last video. I have to say that at the start of last week, I had the camera around. I was shooting all kinds of stuff, but in my mind, it's just sort of hard to put it all together. And so I'd shoot a bunch of stuff. I'd edit it this little bit. I'm like, this doesn't look great. I don't know. I'm just working through my creative flow. I got to get into a flow in that world. So I'm much more comfortable speaking to a camera, being spontaneous. And it's sometimes also hard to like record yourself. So anyways, we'll get there. By the end of 2026, I think we'll see some big improvements in that realm. So anyways, keep encouraging me. I've had a lot of great messages from everybody. And if you haven't watched that video, go ahead and when you get a chance, check it out. You get to see Risa's how the process of chain stitch embroidery works, sort of from start to finish. I tried to show that off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That was a little bit news update. Let's see where everyone's checking in from. We've got Melody Murray checking in from Tucson. Good to see you. We got Nicholas checking in from Mexico. Good to see you, my friend. And Shangsa says, I really love the racing green plans. In fact, aside from the indigo blue, black, white, gray, I feel green is the next best color for men. I do wear a lot of green personally. I find that green matches my skin tone well, so I do wear a lot of green. Though today I'm all blue. We'll go into some fit checks in a bit, but green is a great choice for a lot of people. That's for sure. Chun Yipso, hello from New York City, and Shang Sal, of course, checking in from Sydney, Australia. And also you mentioned recently been thrifting some Patagonia fleeces and wondering if fleece construction is anything similar to Wonder Looper, Super Looper construction. Would Wonder Looper try doing fleece in the future? The answer is I want to.
Yes.
So I actually have some fabric swatches somewhere.
We've
but
been toying with
yeah.
that idea. It is, we have a couple directions that we
Yeah.
can go with. And I think I'm leaning one way. I think you're also leaning that way.
Yeah.
Who knows? But these are type of things that we're going to talk about during kind of like the shipping dips. That
Right.
we're not like spending all day trying to ship stuff and, get things going. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, so I would say the next couple of weeks are going to be spent a lot on development.
Yeah.
And so
The fall development
Yeah.
for this year is already done.
fall winter
It's
26
too late.
is done.
Yeah.
But
so
for future, it is something that is on the roadmap. So the answer is yes. I love fleeces. I wear fleeces, and I think it would be something that would be part of our cozy little knitwear world here at Wonder Looper. So I will at some point have some updates there. Nothing yet, but it is on the roadmap. I do like that people are thinking about fleeces.
on the same wavelength.
I have to say that anytime we have something in our mind and like we haven't really put it out there yet, and somebody in the comments or in the chat mentions it, I just know. Like I it gives me good reassurance there. All right, Mr. BD. Hey everyone, double fox layers up top yesterday with the indigo fleeced FoxFibre Naked Famous jeans. Today kept the fleece FoxFibre top layers. So good. Can't wait for future indigo dyed shirts. Hopefully a crew neck. Yes. So indigo. I also mentioned it in the newsletter. Indigo dyed tees. So we have done some indigo dyed tees in the past, and that was with the Tokushima hand dyed stuff. We'll talk about, maybe if you don't know about that program that we did, we'll talk about that a little bit more in a second. But we want to do some rope dyed tees. So the yarns themselves will be dyed in indigo and then knit into some wonderful t-shirts, so you can enjoy some of that fading and patina properties, similar to what you might see in jeans. Not exactly the same, because you're not going to get those hard creases, but we do come from a jeans background, of course. So you can't keep the indigo out of us. So we gotta represent denim in different ways.
Yeah.
Right. But that said, that's probably a spring 27. Not probably. Well, at the very minimum, a spring 27 item.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, we'll probably do another batch of indigo dyed tees.
Yeah, we haven't planned it yet, which is kind of like last year by this time we have already something going for the last batch of double heavyweight t-shirts being hand dyed in Tokushima natural indigo. So we're a little bit later than last year. There's no season for that per se, so we're just kind of taking our time, but especially because we have Amami mud dyed t-shirts coming this year. That's already been planned for. So, but we want to do the indigo too, because I know that there's a lot of demand for that. I think our question is like, do we do the same base, double heavyweight?
Or do we go with like an ELS?
For a lighter weight.
It might be good, because if we do one for like if it delivers before the summer, if we do it in a lighter weight fabric, or like the ELS recycled cotton slub tee, it's a much more it's an easier fabric to wear in the summer.
Yeah. But I don't know if
we have enough fabric for that.
Well, I think it's too late to plan that for that early. But even if it's like later, closer to fall, I feel like because we've done like the double heavyweight twice already, maybe it's good to switch it up. Not that like I think we're happy with how the double heavyweight the t-shirts came out, but maybe if some people already have that and they want something else, or people who are just like really hesitant about the heavyweight, this one's a little bit lighter weight, it's still heavyweight, but so I don't know.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, bottom line is there will still be, like, even if we do an indigo dyed like a rope dyed t-shirt, hand dyed stuff will still be on on the menu.
Yeah, because
right?
it's a completely different kind of, not completely different, but it is a very different route that you can take with, one is garment dye, the other is yarn dyed, one is, using
Traditional Japanese
like
indigo dye
natural,
method.
grown in Japan, natural indigo plant dye, and then, done one by one. So, I mean, obviously a lot pricier, but it's, it's got these like, well, one thing about the garment dye is that it's, and natural dye combined, is that it's not going to be a flat, clean dye. It's just going to have nuances. It's a little bit more, interesting looking. Whereas, yarn dyed, it's a little bit more thorough, like it's cleaner, kind of like this. And we're doing, we're doing sweatshirts, we're doing t-shirts in this, and obviously it's a little bit more cost effective. It's a synthetic dye, indigo dye as well.
Right.
So I mean, those are two different kind of school of thoughts.
Right.
But
and one's, I'm going to say, one is going to be a lot easier to restock than the other.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So, there's a premium in the slowness of one of them, and one of them, it's easier to have them available, but of course, having things available that are nice and good is also good. So, we're not going to restrict ourselves. If you want to go down like the super traditional route, we've got you covered. We've got you covered if you'd like an indigo tee today, at least, well, not today, but down the line. So anyhow, sometimes it seems like there's some redundancy. But that's okay. There's different strokes for different folks, It's kind of funny because, I think at the very start of Wonder Looper, I thought, okay, look, we'll just keep everything simple. Like a couple of like core fabrics but now it's just our imaginations are just like, just go down every road.
Well, it's just that, like, we're human beings. Like, we can't just be basic and doing the same thing. And we need to be evolving.
Yeah. And we're very much fabric nerds. We love fabric, we love dyes, we love construction, and it's like, it's hard to limit us. Like, it's just, and we will not be contained, and we don't have a boss to tell us what to contain. So
yeah, I mean, that's the beauty of it. Like, we're still talking about adding something for this year, like in the more like planned out corporate environment. Like, there are things that just oh, you didn't make this deadline, you're not gonna get that done.
Yeah.
But here, it's just like, it's just as long as we can get it done ourselves, then it's fine. And so I like that creativity.
Yeah. So yeah, you anyhow, we'll keep the natural stuff coming, and there may be some random things here and there that show up in the collection just because we can.
I think Garrett is in the chat.
Yes, I see that.
Disable this. What is this?
Formerly the Wizard of 32 ounce, now disable this. Mr. Garrett from the store formerly known as Tati and Yoko. There's a lot of formerly known. Now known as Naked Montreal. Yeah. Is in the chat. Everybody say hello to Mr. Garrett. I guess he says B and I will be back. B, Brandon, and I will be back in April, so they're going to be coming to Japan in the spring. April in Japan is
cold.
It's not that cold. April is
gold.
Gold.
It's the best time.
Yeah. Gold is the best.
I actually would argue May is the better time, but April has more of the hopefulness for a better weather.
April in Japan is like June in Montreal. June in Montreal is the best time to be in Montreal because you really finally crack out of the winter, right?
I feel like April in Japan is May in Canada, Montreal.
Okay, maybe May, but still. It's just like, it hasn't been that cold, but like, boy, does the season shift really fast. It's sunny, and you've got the cherry blossoms, and everyone's just wants to be outside again, and it's really a wonderful time to be here. So if you are coming to Japan, try to come in April. But it's always a good time to be in Japan. Yeah, I'll tell you that.
Also, April is the start of the school year, start of like business year, like start of everything in Japan. So like people here, living here are very like, kind of new year, new beginnings, kind of like just attitude in April. So I think it's just in general, everybody's uplifted.
Yeah. Nicholas says he'll be here in late March, and hopefully we'll see some cherry blossoms. Late March is a good time also.
Late March is a better time for cherry blossoms.
Yeah.
But I would say that cherry blossom time is a little bit still cold. It could be cold. And also cherry blossom time shift between like last week or two of March to the first week or two of April.
And one bad rainstorm could just wipe it all out.
Sometimes there's only like one weekend we get to enjoy like a full bloom. For people who are based here, like you don't get to go out and like have a picnic during the week, and you're just counting on like a weekend, and if that just like that's rainy or like whatever, then like just you don't get to see it.
You miss it for the year. Craig says no way. April, I'll be coming early April. Well, good. You're gonna. I know you're gonna have a good time for sure. And Yokohama is definitely a must visit. Yes, there's also. Here's a pro tip if you're coming around that time. In Yokohama, there's a lot of good cherry blossom spots, and they're way less crowded than Tokyo. Mm-hmm. Way less crowded than Tokyo. So
yes, that is completely true. There's just a lot more. Yokohama is big, so I wouldn't say like you go out to areas, but like even the main parts of Yokohama,
not even far from us.
It's like it's not crowded. Like in Tokyo, every single park that has a good like cherry blossom tree, or at least like more than one tree kind of thing, just massive crowd all the time, even at night. Whereas like here it's a little bit more chill.
Much more chill. That's it. So anyhow, if you're coming to Japan anytime, remember you can visit us here at the showroom. All you need to do, let me just for anybody who doesn't know, all you need to do to come and visit us here in the showroom is book an appointment. So I'll just walk you through that process real easy. You just go to wonderlooper.com and you see that schedule your visit. Just click that button right there. Pick your time and date, and you can do it up to like 3 months in advance, something like that.
2 months.
2 months in advance,
yeah.
And then you pick your time, and you're good to go. So 12 o'clock, March 12th at 1:30 p.m. Biggity bam, book now. You put in your email. You get the information on how to get here. We send that information out to you. And you're set for your visit. Yeah. The reason why we don't just have like our address on the website, I'm just gonna say it, is because we're trying to avoid like rando walk-ins.
Yes,
right.
Because we are all, now we have so we have 3 of us usually during business hours, but we're just 3 people team, and we have to get things done. So sometimes we have to step out to run errands or, go get lunch or whatever. So, even if we're here, we might not be here, or, we have things that we may have, like say if we have like a bunch of visitors at the same time, it's hard for us to handle that because, we're not really set up as a store where, we can accommodate that many people. So it's just a way for us to control the incoming, people, and also so that like to make sure that you have a good, solid like visit here. You don't want to be like kind of, we're too busy doing this kind of situation. So that's how we make sure of that. Sometimes even with that, obviously some people are running late or coming early, and there's
there might be some crossover with appointments, but
we try not to make that happen. And even if it does, like it's fine. It's like the most it would overlap is
like
it's
two guests at the same time. So it won't that we can easily handle. But some. And look, if you've stumbled into our showroom before, you didn't have it. It's okay. Like
that has happened.
It has happened. Sometimes people just kind of, hey, is this Wonder Looper? And it's like, yeah, no problem. We're here to help you. It's just it helps us plan our day, knowing how many appointments and when. And I will also say, and because this is, I will also say that like we generally limit the amount of appointments in our day to 3, just because again we have other things to do, and that usually is about enough that we can handle in a day. But if you can't, and what happens is on our website, if the day is booked, that day kind of shows up as like not available.
Right, like if we were filled up to 3.
Right. look, if it's an emergency, you can't make it any other time, just send me an email.
Yes.
Info at
flexible.
Wonderlooper. We'll try to make it happen. And then I saw Nick says that Nick, for people who are local, live here in Japan, I know that like our hours are like
Our
weekdays during office hours, and if you have a job, it's hard to get out here.
We were just talking about this a couple days ago because we have had some like locals come in, and it's not so rare these days.
Yeah.
So we were talking about literally a couple days ago that we should make a certain maybe once a month or something like that, every other week or whatever, available on either Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
And so that like local people who had week like Monday to Friday schedule can also make an appointment and come. But if it might take us a minute to figure that out. So in the meantime, please don't hesitate to email us. We're very flexible and we try to accommodate people's situations.
Yeah. That's it. So we hope to see many of you here. We generally see quite a few people a day. Shang Style mentions, have you ever had two guests at the same time who are both live stream viewers? Would be cool to meet fellow viewers in person. I would say that a lot of people who've come in are live stream viewers.
Yeah, but not everybody's like every single live stream.
Right. Most people have watched a couple of videos.
Yeah.
But we definitely have had more devoted fans than others in here. Yeah. In terms of viewership. But yeah, generally speaking, like everybody's been a viewer in some way, shape, or form. But yeah, we'd one day, another thing I'm thinking is, we did the event over at Gerhard Supply, this past holiday season, and we would love to do another one. Of course, I'd like to go back to Toronto. It's my hometown, my home place. But maybe we can do one in the States at some point. I haven't really talked to Jay about it, but I wouldn't mind, coming down to. I know we get a lot of customers from the Seattle area, and I think that that's sort of maybe it might be a good place to maybe if we can do an event there one day. Yeah. It would be nice to show up and do it with Jay and get to meet a lot of the local people up there. So. We'll see what we can do. 2026, we do have a couple of trips planned. So we'll see how much we can cram in. One of the trips is we really hope to go and do some. We want to be there for when the crops are being picked for the FoxFibre. So that's something we plan on doing this year.
Yes, that would be awesome if we could see that happen in real life.
Yeah, got to watch those giant machines suck up all the cotton. It's gonna be crazy. Every now and then Sally sends me some video of stuff that's going on, and I'm in awe of the big machinery. Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, I think it's just anytime we make it to that side of the world, we should make it a habit to do something, plan something, even if it's not a huge thing. It would be nice to have a chance to meet up. And I was thinking that at some point maybe a Japan event too.
Sure,
that would be fun to host people here. Some point.
We're gonna get a lot of service people here. We get a lot of American service members here.
There's a lot of them.
Yeah, so it's good to. Anyway, we get them from everywhere. It's really pretty amazing.
Yeah, a wide range of people, and I kind of expect in a way a certain demographic of people, and people who have I first got into the raw denim and discovered and all that path because that's something that we our head would go, but sometimes it's just people who found us randomly through whatever.
You get obviously we get some fans that are they followed us for a long time. They come and they got the Naked and Famous jeans on, and it's really cool because sometimes you know what it's like? It's like when we would do the event in New York, and it was just a great with Naked and Famous, everybody would come into the shop, and you got to see so many different fans, so many different walks of life, everybody brought together by raw denim, And you got to see the history because some people are busting out some like rare jeans, and it was really great to see. And like people come here too, and they've got some really cool pairs on, faded, not faded, whatever it is. There's a lot of raw denim fans. But then we also have like a new batch of fans that are just like, I was looking for the best hoodie. I was looking for the best sweatshirt, and I didn't want to buy it online. Sizing this that.
Yeah.
I knew I was coming to Japan, so I really wanted to come here, and So
and sometimes like people maybe because they don't watch our live streams or whatever, like they would come in. It's like what's going on here?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know?
They're not sure. They're like,
yeah.
I thought this was a store. I'm like, we sell stuff, but we're not quite a regular retail store.
Yeah, I think sometimes I feel like maybe we should like do a store visit, like or like even
What to
just
expect,
have a photo of the showroom or whatever.
Right.
I don't know. Anyways,
Yeah.
I think it would be fun to kind of eventually do something here as well. Somebody, Craig Cat Dad, made a very important on point comment. And don't forget to send a message if we're gonna cancel the visit.
That's true.
Yes.
Yeah. If you're gonna cancel,
Don't do a no show.
yeah. Anyhow.
I'm not gonna complain because I mean to a certain extent that's going to happen, and not everything is a very like disrespectful thing. It's like sometimes something happens.
Yeah.
Like I understand that this is not the most important thing in your life,
Yeah.
But and we're not losing so much because we're here anyways.
Right.
But at the same time, we do plan our days around. So
Yeah. So just anyhow, try to be as considerate as you can. Okay. What do we have here? We've got Michael asking us for a fit check and watch check. You got it. So let's do it. I'm going to start off over here. I've got the Naked and Famous denim. This is the 5-panel cap in the Japan heritage. This has been worn for very, very, very many years, and you can see how faded it is. Interestingly, I feel like this part is faded because this is where I grab it.
Yeah.
It's kind of got my finger mark.
Yeah,
in
because
there.
other parts you're not touching it
Right.
when you're wearing it so much.
I feel like that patina is kind of cool. And then Risa put the B embroidery there for me on the front. Risa has a cap of her own that she has an R on. So sometimes we wear them together, and we've got the B and R combo happening. I've got my effector glasses here, my spectacles, so I can see you better. This is the Wonder Looper. Blanket striped French terry. You guys know this one. This one broke a few hearts because not everybody could get one of these. And, I had to take the sample myself because it's one of the perks of working here. Underneath, I've got it paired up with my Sears vintage Sears selvage denim shirt. And I just think it's like I think it's a great combination. You've got the denim layered up, a little bit of denim showing through on the cuff. Hold on, let's readjust that to make it look nice and give it a little bit of contrast here. So I just like this combination of things, and it just adds an extra layer of warmth right now. So inside, if it gets too hot, I can just take off the sweatshirt. I've got the shirt on underneath, it looks good. But going outside, I've got a little bit of extra insulation there on that layer. Watch wise, an oldie but a goodie. I haven't worn this one in a while, and this is I'll show it to you here. This is my Omega Chrono Cross. It's a vintage watch from the 1970s, and it was the first digital stopwatch on a watch. And this digital part doesn't actually tell the time. It's just a stopwatch, and then you've got the time over here. But what I like about it is when you've got it on the wrist, this is kind of just a nerdy little detail, is that like I don't need to pull the whole watch out. I can just sort of slide it out, and I can see just the time if I need it, because I don't really need the stopwatch. And so it's kind of a cool feature there. I just like vintage digital watches, and I know this isn't technically a digital watch, but it has some LCD action there.
I always liked the Swatch, and for a while you were considering like
selling it,
letting this go, and I was like, I think I should hold on to it.
Yeah.
If we're really tight with money, sure.
Sure. Right. So and this watch was also made for the Montreal 1978 Olympics, and so we do have a connection to Montreal, so I do like it for that reason as well. It's not the most expensive watch in the world, so again, like Risa said, it's just like sometimes that there's other watches I want and I just can't justify it, so I look at my watch collection, I'm like, maybe I should do some trades.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I'll hold on to that one for now. And then I've got my Naked and Famous True Guy Dirty Fade Selvage, as you can see, faded quite extensively here. And then on the feet, we've got the Yucatan main guide boots in blue. So I've got this whole denim blue look going on today. Hold on, I've got a blue chair here. There you go. That's me. And we've got the FoxFibre, the ribbed, the FoxFibre chunky knit socks here. So that's my outfit today. And Miss Risa, why don't you take it away?
I wore this double heavyweight French terry green from I think last fall. Zip hoodie. I never wore zip hoodie, so I wasn't sure how to wear it honestly. But I don't know. I sometimes really like it wearing hoodie, like zip hoodie just doesn't feel right so that I'll just like close it up, but like I do like the flexibility of the openness as well, so maybe I'll just wear it like that. Underneath I have the Soothing Gold Tsuruyami tee. It's coming this year, brand new product, and I've just been test driving it. Love it. Every time it's in the wash, like I miss it. So it's been a heavy rotation for me. And then I got the Naked and Famous solid black selvage classic from a while ago. And then I got, let's see if I can do this. The Yucatan. I don't know what they call this.
Yeah, I don't know the model number.
Yeah. Anyways, the short boots in black. I have this in. It's the same style as the one that I have in leopard print one, but it's just very comfortable. Because I'm wearing a thick hoodie, I have a thin watch. I always have a thin watch, but what is it?
91W Casio.
91W. Yeah. I've been wearing this a lot in the winter time just because it's like easier for me to pull it out from the long sleeve.
And then lots of cool jewelries and accessories.
I mean, I always wear the same things. For jewelry, like I hate changing it up. I always wear the same thing. Most of all of my earrings just stay on 24/7. I don't take it off. Necklace as well. Most of it, I just don't take it off. Rings, I take it off for some reason. I think maybe because I wash dishes and stuff. But it's always the same.
Yeah, there you go. And so, we try to coordinate little by little here, little touches of the watches are similar. We got similar boots. So, we always try to coordinate. At least we try to look like we're matching in some way. Sometimes we go the full distance.
Was it yesterday? No, the other day. He was basically wearing this old blue outfit, and I saw that first, so I was just like, okay, old blue. I have like a navy hoodie, like blue jeans, and
that's it. So we encourage the matching, and we do something that I want to maybe we mentioned it before, but we do make into extra small, and I find that our fits are. I think the kinds of products that we make, they're not particularly gendered. Like, a hoodie is a hoodie, right? Like, there's a lot of girls that wear loose and big hoodies. That's just kind of normal. Like, we don't do like the super cropped, some of those are a little bit more feminine, but, because we have had a big sort of increase in our extra small demand, there's also sort of a bigger demand now for even double extra small. So we're going to start making even smaller sizes just to sort of accommodate a wider range of people. And
I think not in everything right off the bat, but we'll see how this goes. And one of the things that I actually kind of wanted to make sure it is a thing was the raglan sleeve. Yeah. And raglan sleeve really makes it possible for women to easily like wear the men's oversized and look so cool. It's just because the when the shoulder seam's there, like you either have to be like really off for the oversized look, or fit it, because otherwise it just looks slightly off and then slightly like adds the. It's not a great look, and I don't like that personally. So like I knew that like going in, like okay, we'll make extra small, so I can fit in it. But I also want to look, decent in it.
Right size.
Yeah, so like the with raglan sleeve, there's no shoulder seam. It doesn't matter where it falls, so it's a lot easier for me to fit in and look like it's a proper size. So yeah, I think that that's also a benefit of that, and that's kind of like how we can kind of expand into the maybe more women can wear these the same items. Like it's one thing to like have a woman's line.
Yeah.
Maybe at some point we'll consider that, but like it's just it will be great if we could just share the style.
share the fits.
Yeah.
And then for those of you at home who might want to dress up with your significant others, you might have more options there in the future. Okay, we have Michael saying, nice watch, Teresa. I just bought myself the Casio F91W. Good choice. I have like 5 or 6 of them. Just buy them in every color. They're really great. And then we've got Sticky Rice San says, what was that the watch in the movie Planes, Trains, and Automobiles? It was. And Teresa, can I get your watch for a second? It's one of my, I love that movie. Every time we have to go on a big trip, I usually put on Planes, Trains, and Automobiles because I just love it. And then there's this one scene where John Candy is like trying to pay for a hotel room and he doesn't have any money. And he's like, I have a Casio. It's just such a great scene. Like, ooh, like, can I get a room for this? And, just a great watch. And I have to admit, because I love digital watches. I got a bunch of Timexes, I got a bunch of Casios. From everything from these to G-Shocks, and some that are more collectible than others. And the one thing that I always love about a Casio is that doesn't matter if you're buying the $10 watch or you're buying the many thousands of dollars of watch, whatever it is. The really like high spec stuff, it's made for like the real like sort of nerdy enthusiasts of this brand, because at the end of the day, like 99% of the world perceives Casio as exactly that. Mm-hmm. Like here's like this cheap watch, and yes it is, but there's also some like deep heritage into it as well, and like really super high quality stuff. And it just goes incognito, right? Yeah. Where I can feel comfortable wearing some of my like rarer pieces, and I don't have to worry about looking too flashy or anything like that. Sometimes you might like a really expensive, nice watch, but and it's okay to have some flashy things. It's okay, it's fine. But sometimes you might feel self-conscious about it, or maybe in some ways you might feel unsafe having it, wearing it. And so, with a Casio, or even like vintage, I feel the same way with the Casios and vintage watches, because vintage watches, they look old, you know what I mean? And like, unless you're like a watch nerd, and what that is, and like, you're signaling to other watch nerds with that one, like, but you never have to worry about feeling too flashy, because like a lot of people are just going to look at that, oh, it's an old watch, right? There's nothing to it. So with Casio, I feel very comfortable with it. It's very incognito, under the radar. I can enjoy it, and then fellow G-Shock enthusiasts can enjoy it. Every now and then I'll notice somebody's cool G-Shock, like, hey, nice watch, and they're like, nice watch. And anyhow, it's a fun little camaraderie we have. Mm-hmm. Okay. Lucky on 3 Legs says, those aren't pillows. You gotta watch, guys, tonight, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Enjoy it. It's really a wonderful movie. I forget what was it. There was a book that John Candy reads in it. It's like, it has a super, super silly name, and you can buy it as like a prop book. It is just, I always want to buy, I forget the title of it, but it's so silly. Anyhow,
Somebody would know.
Somebody's gonna look it up, and you can buy it. And every now and then, I wanna do like a photo shoot with it, or like maybe Bahzad reading this book at the metro station, and only the people watching that movie are gonna know that reference because it's gonna be good. Anyhow, I let the jokes. I give the point of the joke away. Okay. We've got Joy Rock saying female here, and I can get the shirt cropped and the cropped and super broad shoulders. The smaller pants though are my suffering. I can't often get good denim or non-gendered pants. Well, is it a size issue? Are the small sizes not small enough? But again,
pants in general are hard.
They're way harder for women than they are for men. That's for sure.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. It's there are like a lot more. I think because of the accessibility of these like more indie brands that are catered towards definitely smaller markets, that I think there are like a couple brands that really do well in the same kind of heritage wear for men vibes but in women's cuts, like I can name names. For instance, we can get Naked and Famous Denim has women's line, or you can get like a good denim fabric, raw denims available in fits that are designed for women. I would also say that like Railcar has like some raw denim for women. I also think Eat Dust women.
Yeah, Eat Dust.
Girls of Dust, I think it's called. They make very nice like female stuff with like the similar fabrics and vibes of the Eat Dust men's line, and right. it's pretty fantastic, I have to say.
Women of Dust,
Girls of Dust.
Yeah.
It's called. Yeah.
But yeah, there's options. Alternatively, I used to work in women's denim. I used to work in a women's like denim department, and I worked there for years. And yeah, it's a tough one always. I would say that sometimes because usually it's like the waist to hip ratios for women, they vary way more than they do for men. So sometimes you can have women that are a lot skinnier in the waist and they have more thighs, or sometimes women are a little bit more straight. So it's really hard to fit you. Sometimes it could just be a matter of like getting the hips and the waist in, and even if in the hips in, and if the waist is big, sometimes cinching it with a belt or going and getting it tailored, because the hips area is the most important part, because that's going to give you the best shape and that's where it's going to be the most comfortable. The waist area is fixable, and like a lot of brands, the big brands, they're just going to throw a lot of stretch at you, and of course that's going to work because it's just going to fit you perfectly. And so it's very tricky to get something has a lot of cotton, 100% cotton, raw, not a lot of give to it to like fit you that way, whereas it might be a little bit better, cinch it up with a belt. You're going to wear the hoodie, or you're going to wear the big shirt over top of it, and you're not going to see that part, and you're going to be okay. I would say that as a guy who likes wearing looser fitting jeans, having the waist a little bit big, it ain't so bad. You're gonna cover it up anyways, and
but sometimes even like I'm not the most the hippiest like curve, like ratio wise, like the most extreme case of waist to hip ratio kind of person, but I do sometimes find that like if I just have pants that fit my hips, and like yes, I wear belts and I do that, but sometimes it's kind of like it's still a little not right, and I understand that. So
like when you wear my jeans, they're usually big in the waist, and then
some of them work, others don't. And again, like with different body types, it's completely different. One thing is that like with raw denim, it's a lot harder. If you want to do raw denim, you might want to try with like a lighter weight, because heavier weight it's a lot less drapey, obviously. So with lighter weight, maybe it's not too bad. And then also, or like vintage, like really washed in like really softer fabric.
Yeah, that's sort of if they're going to be a little bit big in the waist, then the softness or the drapiness of the fabric is going to help, because if you have to cinch it in a little bit, it's going to be a little bit easier for it to accommodate you that way. Yeah. We got Sticky Rice saying as far as plane, trains, and automobiles, the book that John Candy is reading, the Canadian Mounted. It has like a sexy lady on front, and it's so silly and stupid. But anyhow, it's good stuff. Okay, there was another question here. Which one is it?
This one I think we
Okay.
should answer.
Okay, go for it.
Okay, so Dakota.
Oh, sorry.
Dakota says, I had a question on the Amami shirts. Do the reddish and pink tone ones also go through a mud wash, or are they just dyed with the Sharinbai? Any plans on dyeing hoodies crew necks with it? So the first part of the question, in our offering of 3 colors,
I would show them, but I sent them to
right
the photo studio
out of the showroom. We have the lighter pink and more like brick red kind of ish tone, and then more brown, dark brown ones. The lightest color, pink tone, this one is dyed with Sharinbai, and as a mordant we use like aluminum. So it's not going to it doesn't it's not going through the mud, and it just doesn't have that like added blackness to it from the iron, from the mud. So the pink one, no, but with the red one and the dark brown one, it does go through the mud wash. The red one, the reason why you see more red is that it's kind of like it's a repeated process of the Sharinbai dye and then mud dye and then Sharinbai dye and mud dye. And the red one is like, it goes through a shortened process, but it kind of ends with the red, and it's got more Sharinbai, I guess. And then the dark brown one is a little bit more of mud and a little bit more like more steps. Right. So that's how they kind of have the variety of colors. So I think that answers the question. And then like for the hoodies, crew necks, we are wanting to do that, but
Super Looper 27
perhaps.
Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah. So anyway,
We'll see.
between
even-
inception and delivery, there's a lot of steps. So
Right.
that is the plan. Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah. Okay, we've got Rugged Satorial saying, do you guys have any recommendations for pod hotels?
Like capsule?
Yeah, capsule hotels. I don't specifically. I've never stayed in one, though. I feel like near Yokohama Station, there's one called Capsule, and I've walked by it a few times, and it looks cool. From the outside, it looked cool. I've never been inside. That said, I would only recommend it if you're there for an experience.
Yeah.
It's not somewhere I would recommend you go if you're like, if I think, yeah, it's maybe difficult to stay in a place like that if you're planning on staying in Japan for a while.
It just also depends on like your age and your like willingness to suffer, I think.
Sleeping in a little pod, a lot of these places are used for, it's kind of like, so there's another thing in Japan called like manga cafe, and manga cafe is like a great place to kill time, but also a lot of these manga cafes are located right next to train stations, because you miss your last train, it's a nice place you can either sit in the cafe and read manga and have coffee or whatever all night, or there's like these little rooms that you can sleep in, they have showers, they have, if you miss your last train, you can stay there. If you're, I would say, hard on your luck, you can stay there. If you're trying to save, sometimes I've known people who are like, maybe they're between apartments, right? Like they had to get out of one apartment, and like their next apartment that they're going to move into is only going to be available in like 12 days. So they have to stay somewhere short term. They might stay there for a little while. So like it's possible to do that. But capsule hotels are less like the manga cafes. Capsule hotels are they're a little bit more like you missed your last train. You need a relatively comfortable and cheap place to stay. You got it. They're definitely. I've never stayed in one, but they look like an experience. But I wouldn't particularly recommend one if you're going to be like staying in them for a while.
Yeah, and there's also like a like wide range of it, and I think there's like a nicer one nowadays, like with kind of amenity and maybe a little bit more room than like MRI machine.
Yeah.
But those ones tend to kind of approach in price to like a proper hotel room. So it's like, what's the point at that? Again, for experience maybe, but it's just like, okay, then maybe just spend like $20 more and stay in a regular room. I don't know. That's just my thinking. But and obviously there are cheaper options, but then that is literally sitting in an MRI machine for a few hours while you sleep. If you can, I feel like in my like early 20s, I would have definitely been fine with that. So it's fine. That's just like in my late 30s, I don't think I would do that.
You're right. Younger Bahzad is like, stay in a capsule hotel. Yeah, I would have done it, and it would have been
just
fun.
To save like $20.
Yeah.
It's like that's $20.
Right.
But now I can't.
Yeah. If I had to, I would. Somebody's saying we need a Wonderlooper vlog where Bahzad stays in a capsule hotel. Yeah, look, I think they're very handy, and I think they're very useful for like their use cases.
And it is an experience, I think. The one that I chose not to experience, but
right,
it's fun. I can see that.
Yeah, but I don't have any recommendations. Right. I would say maybe go online. We've got Joy Rock says the best pod hotel I stayed in was in Osaka, Hotel Cargo in Shinsaibashi. Well, there you go. If you're in Osaka, maybe check that one out.
And like also like one thing to know is the capsule hotel, and like a lot of them have like women's floor and men's floor for safety reasons.
So if you're staying with somebody,
like you're gonna have to separate. And also if it's two people, again, maybe it's easier to just get a hotel room.
Right. Yeah. Okay. We've got Jag is asking, is there a possibility of FoxFibre Super Looper in 27 or 28? Possibility. I'm not gonna say no. But
that becomes the matter of like we have to sample the yarns and then also make it into fabric and see if it works. It's not as simple and like straightforward as you might imagine when you have to like use a specific
size
raw material and then specific yarns in a specific knitting. So I don't know, maybe, but we're not currently working on that.
Yeah, we're not currently working on it. Sometimes it's not so much a limitation because sometimes so are things doable theoretically? Yes, right? Because what could happen is maybe for example, yarns are often available in certain sizes. And in order to make, different weights of garments, you need a certain size yarn to be available. And if that yarn isn't available, is the mill willing to make it? And how much of it needs to be made in order for it to be economical? Because again, on their side, could they make it? Yes. But in order to, put the production line to make a very specific size yarn that they don't really use, they have to shut everything down. And, again, a lot of things boil down to efficiency. The less efficient it is, the more cost it is going to be. And so if they don't make this particular size yarn that we need, you got to go and do that. How much is that going to cost? And then, it becomes a multiplier effect. So sometimes it's like, is it technically doable? Yes. Is it worth doing or worth pursuing?
Yeah,
right.
And it's the repeat of the same problem in the knitting as well, right? Like this is a Tsuriyami knit fabric, so it's it's going to have another layer of complexity there. So we don't know.
Yeah,
we don't know yet.
Okay, Shang style. This is funny. Okay, this is back to hotel talk. A bit of not safe for work recommendation. I don't know if it's going to be a recommendation, but I found adult hotels in Japan very spacious. and extremely well priced. I personally thought they were hygienic enough. Let me stop you right there. Because I had a friend recently, he was messaging me, he was like, he's planning on his Japan trip, and he's like, wow, I found this hotel, it seems pretty cheap and very central. And I'm like, bro, that's a love hotel. And he's like, what's a love hotel?
Yeah, so love hotel is something that maybe, I don't know if it's unique to Japan.
I think they kind of are.
It's very similar idea to like American motels, but
they're rent by the hour hotels or rent by the evening hotels. You can't really stay there during the day, is my understanding, but
yeah,
they can often be themed and like whatever, but it's basically for the
one like purpose only.
Yeah.
And that's where this, you know, like business model started, like to accommodate people who have a specific purpose to use the hotel room for
loving
and
hugging.
And you know, so because of that, like they have like, you know, hourly rates, and then, you know, obviously I think if you spend like the whole night, it's a little bit, you know, better than hourly. It's kind of like parking, right? So
It's just like parking.
So that's how it is. But because I think, you know, in the traditional like ways, we didn't have like, we know which ones, you know, love hotels, and you know, we don't really use that unless you're using that for the purpose, right? But like I think nowadays, because of like the internet and the tourism and you know, just kind of different way of life, I guess, that they're kind of opening up to be a little bit more open to regular use. And so they kind of list their hotel availability on like regular hotel sites. And as a person who don't really like know, like by looking at the photos, that like it's a love hotel. Like for a Japanese person, a lot of the times it's kind of obvious,
right? But
like for foreigners, it's like, oh, this is a little like quirky little hotel, and it's a very good price.
Like so there's a water slide in this room. Like somebody mentioned that. Like some of them can be like, they're zany. Like there's some weird, like you want like Arabian Nights room, they got it. If, you know,
and
like,
oftentimes those hotel like buildings itself, it's kind of like
weird sometimes.
Las Vegas style, you know. But so I think it is confusing for a lot of people, and you know, again, it's actually not like, why not?
Right.
You know, I mean, you can use that for just, you know,
you can, but anyhow.
It's just something that, you know, if you think too much about it,
if you think too much about it, you don't want to be there.
Yeah.
The same can be said about regular hotels, but
yes,
right.
100%.
Yeah. But this one is just one option.
Extra layer.
Yeah, as an extra layer of that.
But also, like, nowadays, these love hotels are, like, kind of, because they need a business, like, they would have, like, you know, like girls party, like
plans, like if you want a room to party in, like you and your girlfriends, and like have drinks and whatever.
Right. They open up before,
which is kind of a good idea, like a themed room, you know.
Yeah, and also like you can order
food and
rooms. Like it's room service, but it's not like hotel room service where it's like, you know, very, you know, high price, you know, fancy or anything like that. It's just like kind of like whatever food that you can order from, like a, you know, it's all almost like karaoke. A lot of the
karaoke places, you can order food, and it's like, you know, convenience store level quality food, right? But you know, you have the little iPad, you know, you want beer, you want chicken, you want French fries, pizza, whatever. They'll bring it up to your room. Right.
And now you can do that in a hotel room. Most of these places also have karaoke built in as well.
Right.
So like you can do that, and you know, it's a little bit more clean image for the hotel as well. Back in the days, two girls cannot go in there.
Right.
Like it was just, you know, it's not what it's meant for.
Right.
So it's interesting.
Right. Nowadays, they are expanding. That's for sure. But yeah, anyhow, if like the capsule hotels, I don't recommend a long-term stay there. If you want to experience some weird Japan, find a weird one and go have fun. But it's not where you want to stay for like a 2-week trip. Yeah. I'm gonna give it that.
Right.
Um,
And there are other options that are, decently priced as well. Like
Yeah.
Upper Hotel, for instance. That's a proper business hotel.
Yeah.
It's not fancy, it's all whatever,
Yeah.
but it is good price. And
there is a category of hotel in Japan called business hotels.
Yeah.
And it's like they're generally pretty small rooms, but they have everything you need, and they're well priced. Because like for all the travelers, there's a lot of guys. They're mostly guys, but they send them all around the country. You got to go do a meeting here, there, this place, and that place. And of course, they want to travel on a budget, so they go to business hotels. So that's often a good, like if it says it's a business hotel, usually it's kind of bare bones, but like it's not going to be gross or anything like that. But again, sometimes people feel like I don't want to spend too much money on a hotel because I'm going to be out and about all day. I just need a nice, clean place to sleep. Business hotel is a great place to do that. Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go, everybody. There's some hotel talk here in the live stream. Before we get into some other juicy topics like new labels and sample sale stuff.
Okay.
Let's ask everybody to do the right thing. And the right thing is to hit the like button. If you haven't done so already, it really goes a long way. Just one like is all you have to do. Hit that like button. Let us know, or like, thumbs up, whatever it is. If you haven't subscribed yet, do it now. That's my big ask from you, is to do it now, and that's it. I don't ask for much. Okay, let's talk new Ultimate Pima labels, because we just got the sample, and somebody was asking about labels. I forgot in the questions there. I was gonna read it, but then I lost it. But we have some new labels planned for Ultimate Pima.
Yeah. So Ultimate Pima, in the past, we've been doing this like white and black only color options. So we had like a white on white version label of our classic label for white, and then black and black for the black color. And I really liked it because it's kind of like super monotone, and it's kind of luxurious. But because we're adding ikuru and kaki to the mix this coming spring, and we wanted to make that like label the same way and like match the color of the fabric itself, but we kind of encountered some difficulties there, and we just kind of in general, like, okay, we want to be able to like add more colors in the future without having to like kind of like face this problem every single time. So we decided we should have a like contrast looking label that goes with everything, and this is what we came up with.
Well, basically we didn't want to have to create a new label for every color of shirt.
Exactly.
So.
And it's sometimes it's hard to match the color, like, because we have already a fabric that we want to like have a specific color tone on, and like ikuru, for instance, we can't change that. This is the color of the cotton, so it was gonna be a difficult task to just create labels that matches everything. So we came up with this a little smaller and a little bit more luxurious looking, perhaps in my opinion, label.
Yeah. So exactly.
So considerably smaller, and it kind of reminds me of like a fancy chocolate label, which is what we were going for, really.
And you can see it says there, Siriyami knit with Ultimate Pima, pre-shrunk, Wonder Looper, made in Japan.
Yeah,
and
so this is the season we're also switching from like non-wash to
one wash.
Yeah, one wash. So it kind of goes with, so far on all of the colors, like it kind of goes with it, it works with everything.
Right.
It's kind of like a
there we go.
Burgundy chocolate kind of base with the gold letters.
Yeah, you can see, with this color, it works very, very well. And then we just found that it works well with practically everything. So you're going to see a little bit of a change here in the Ultimate Pima tees. Of course, these ones haven't come out yet, like the Ecru or the khaki green. But with black, I think it pairs up really nicely as well. A nice pop. And then with the white, you can see here, it looks really nice with it as well. So that's going to be the upgrade when we change these over in the spring to the pre-washed editions. And these were designed by the lovely Risa. Risa put this one together.
We did it together.
Yeah, we did it together. But, I have ideas, and then Risa, she has the creativity. She can put it all together real nice.
No, I have the illustrator skill.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, it's sometimes we do the labels, or then sometimes we have somebody that we hire to do labels for us.
Yeah. Sometimes it's obvious, but
yeah,
with the soothing gold Tsuriyami t-shirts, we obviously had a professional design it, and we're very happy with it. We couldn't have done it ourselves. So
yeah. Rugged Sartorial says, "Wow, that label is really nice. It kind of gives London Savile Row Taylor vibe." We really wanted to give it a a luxurious feel.
Yes.
Yeah, an upmarket kind of feel. Great idea for the ultimate Pima shirts. We said Craig Cat Dad here. Okay. Does the new label show on the back of the white tee, or start a different see-through on the? You're not really gonna see it on the back. I mean,
Ultimate Pima t-shirts, as much as it's in our range, it is the lightest weight t-shirt we offer.
You
so far.
see a white label on the back of this already. I mean, it's not there, and then. Here's what it would look like on the back.
It is certainly not a see-through t-shirt. It's not that lightweight. It's not that...
I have the other label right next to it, and you can see maybe...
You're only gonna see the stitching, and then, the one thing is that when you're wearing it, there's a skin behind it.
Yeah.
So that's sometimes people kind of see the t-shirt and put the hand and in the sun and think, oh, it's see-through, but in real life you have a body behind it, so it's not gonna see through there's only the sun and the hand. That's not how it works. So and in my personal experience, the Ultimate Pima t-shirts is not see-through at all. I don't have a problem with that.
So there you go, little mini update there. The other update, and I'm gonna go grab a few pieces, is the availability of some maybe sold out pieces.
So as we kind of talked about in the latest video, we have been kind of cleaning up the warehouse just to organize everything and make sure that we have room for incoming inventory for spring. And at the same time we're doing inventory and all of that stuff, so you might have seen some things that have been out of stock kind of pop back up on the website, and that's because we kind of recounted and discovered some unpublished inventory. And along with that, we have found a bunch of we kind of decided which samples to keep and which samples that we can kind of let go. And among that, there's a lot of gold, because there's a lot of things that we sold out from our production, and people kind of wanted to get hands on that. So it's not a lot, and it's all size medium because that's our sample size. But there's some gold in there.
Yeah. So for example, Henley Cashmere blend, Ecru, and this is a sample, but the original samples we had a different horn button than the production, so slightly different than the production, but the fabric and everything else is exactly the same. So something like this can be available if you're interested. The size medium Ecru, send me an email, I'll send you an invoice, and then I don't have to put it online. But so something like that will be available, or indigo blanket stripe. These are gone, and the samples, the original samples, also had the slightly different stripe pattern. These can go up too. So that's a crew neck. Again, if you're interested, send me the DM. Not a DM, send me an email, info@Wonderlooper, and if I'm gonna do it in order of whoever sends it first. I'll send you an invoice, and you can have a chance at that. But some things, if there's production changes, I would actually prefer it if you just message me. But if there was no production change, it's just a full on retail like production sample, like this, like Super Looper blue zip hoodie, like I have a medium in stock, like that I could just put online, and then I'll just say that like it'll have a sample tag instead of a production tag.
Yeah.
And by sample tag, it literally all it just says is sample.
Yeah.
But
it doesn't come with a care label and like the information, like 100% cotton and all that, like with attached to the thing. But that just I mean, you can, it's the exact same thing as the production, so you can get all that information on the website, and it's the same exact thing. It's just that sometimes we kind of feel like we can't sell it as a production because of the one inside tag.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a waste. And that's a to be clear, this is the varsity blue color of Super Looper, so it's the one from last year.
Yeah. So anyhow, for some of those things, like you might see those product pages, I'll send an email and I'll say, maybe what I'll do is maybe tomorrow. So for Tuesday, tomorrow, it's Monday here. So for Monday, I'm trying to think timing wise.
Today is a
Monday,
holiday, but
here
it's a holiday, so we're
Japan.
not shipping anything. Yeah. We're not working afterwards. We're gonna.
So tomorrow during the day, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put together an email and a list of all like the sample items, and then in that email it'll have direct links to all those products. So maybe that's exactly how you sign up for the newsletter. Mm-hmm. If you're not on the newsletter, sign up for the newsletter, and then in the newsletter it's gonna have all the direct links, and then sign up for the newsletter, bottom line. And then it'll have the direct links for anything that is sample. And that way, if you're buying it through that direct link, it's going to be the sample, and there's no confusion there. So I'll handle it that way. But if there's something I showed on screen today, for example, that you're interested in, just send me an email, info@wonderlooper, and I'll accept those by first come, first serve, right? So we can handle it like that. So every now and then we're going to clean up the warehouse, and we'll handle it that way. And then we do have something called B stock, and I haven't fully decided what to do with those yet. But B stocks are like, maybe they came out of production and there might be a little nick in the fabric, or there's just something that makes it like not perfect for sale. And like usually the damages are pretty minor, but it ends up in our B stock pile. And to be fair, we don't have a lot. There's a few pieces here and there, or maybe something came in at a slightly, like maybe one item came slightly out of spec or something like that. So we don't sell it.
Yeah.
But if that spec works for you, so maybe eventually what I'll do is I'll go through the B stock pile. I'll send exact same thing. Newsletter with here's what's available, direct link, and you can purchase it, and like it'll have all the information there for you.
This is something, maybe if we have a lot of things like that and just started to pile up, I think that's a good way. But in general, I also like having it in store, and if somebody's like kind of looking for like a already sold out piece, and that person happens to fit the size, then like we can offer it in store, and that way like we don't have to describe what's wrong with it in detail. Like you can take a look in person and you can decide if that's something that you want to spend money on. And I feel like that's a little bit more like less labor intensive for us, and even I also feel like that kind of makes the visit more special. So I like having that also. So
the sample sale pile is, if you're here in person, you can dig through it. You can definitely see what we have available for you there. So it's just our way of like making sure that we don't overload our warehouse with too much stuff.
These are things that are kind of harder to get rid of because each one has to be like described.
It's a one-off, right?
So it's not, it's kind of like hard for us. If we have a mountain of these, it's going to be hard to attack that. So we just want to kind of get ahead of ourselves and just keep that in the lore pile early.
Right, because if you let that pile grow, if Garrett, you're still watching, Garrett at Naked and Famous, you're still watching. If you let that pile grow too high, it becomes a monster that you have to deal with.
It's not his fault.
It's not his fault. I'm just
15 years or however many years now of that brand. It's just piled up year after year.
Yeah, we tried back then so many different ways to, the thing is, like, again, with Naked and Famous, you do a production run, you make 1,200 jeans, 1,500 jeans, whatever it is. There's going to be 5 or 6 that come off, not perfect. But you're doing that many jeans every single week, that adds up, and it's just, because you're so focused on selling, like, the 1,500 pairs that are good, the few pairs that aren't, perfect, they get put in a box and they get somewhere,
and also, like, for us, like, we're still like 3 years into the brand, so like everything that we have made in the past, we still make it, or the various, we still have all the information. Whereas, like, if you are past like 10-year mark, like you're changing the fits, you're changing the fabrics. There's a lot that they have to deal with.
Shank Style says, "Are we able to ask for more pictures if we buy samples online?" I'm gonna say, please don't, just because, like, if I'm putting it in sample retail ready, it means it's as good as production, right? We made this so that we can take photos of it. Right. And, like, they haven't been worn, like, they probably haven't even been on the rack. Like, they literally came in, we took photos of it, we needed it for, like, our line sheet video, and then they're there just as reference, so when the production comes in, we can make sure that everything's the same. Yeah. Right.
The only thing that we would do is that if we were selling B stock, then we'll take a photo of
or if there's any production changes.
Right. We will take a photo of that part and, like, point it out. But other than that, it's unreasonable to have to.
Don't give me homework. Don't give me homework. I appreciate it. I know everybody you want to know, but, like, I'll just tell you up front, like, if it's in, like, retail, like, sample like condition, it is as good as retail.
Yeah, and if you just don't want that, if we don't want to risk that, then just don't look at it. Don't get yourself tempted.
Right. Okay. All right, so that's what's happening. Watch out for the newsletter. Be sure to subscribe to the newsletter. Make sure you're getting our emails. If you haven't read one of our newsletters recently, check your junk mail. It might be going in there. Make sure that we're not, we're filtered to be not in your spam folder, and that way you get the latest updates. So, every now and then people ask me, I didn't get your email, or whatever. I'm like, it's your junk. It's your junk. I have to say, sometimes I have to reach out to customers. And, maybe there's an issue with their order or something. Maybe their address, there's some sort of issue. And, like, the amount of people that I can't reach for, like, a while, it's sometimes it's too much. Sometimes they're like, you haven't shipped my order out. It's been 2 weeks. I'm like, yes. I've really been trying to reach out to you for a while. So, anyways, I'm glad you reached out. Also, interestingly, as we have been, doing a lot more shipping and, like, finding, quite a new audience around the world. It is sometimes interesting to see like how postal codes and addresses work all around the world. Like, some places in the world, it's just like 2nd Street, 1st block, no postal code. And I'm just like, this can't be an address. And it is. And, like,
and one thing I learned is that, like, quite commonly in United Kingdom, they have, like, no street numbers. They're just like, street name is the address because there's only one house on that street or something like that. And it's just like the Shopify will flag the order saying, like, it seems to be missing a number. Yeah. And it's just like, and as we get more experience with certain countries and the things that they flag versus what's actuality, we will be smarter about it. But sometimes, like Bahzad said, if we're getting like new customers from new regions, like it's. And also, I'm just gonna say that if you have like bought anything from like overseas, like retailers, then you probably know like what is the courier's like requirements and stuff like that. So even if like in for your domestic mail you might not need that certain information. Like you might need that for international.
yeah.
So yeah, I mean, if we obviously if we see a problem ahead of time, we'll reach out. But it does add like a couple business days, unless you you're super fast with response. So just to make sure your address is proper for FedEx's use.
We want to make sure everything gets delivered nicely. We got somebody's asking, any remaining oatmeal FoxFibre hoodies in medium? I actually think yes. I think there's
Perhaps.
Yeah. Anyway, subscribe to the newsletter. You'll get the full list. What time is that email gonna arrive in your inbox? I'm gonna write it down. 9 a.m. tomorrow, Eastern. 9 a.m. Eastern. Is that a good time? No. Let's make it fair for the West Coast people. 11 a.m. Eastern.
I mean, sure, but anytime it's
Yeah, it's just I don't know. The answer is I don't know. I don't know.
just check your email, so it will be sent.
Yeah, it will be sent. If I can give you a better heads up, I will. Maybe I'll have an Instagram story. That's just keep an eye on things. Sometimes these things are just moving at the speed of what I can do them at. Okay, somebody asked, when are you guys going to talk about baby cashmere? We're going to talk about it right now. So let me go get one.
Baby cashmere. I have to say that I started wearing my baby cashmere hoodie this holiday season. We received it and I just kind of let it sit for a while, and I just kind of figured that this year we took Christmas off, we took the New Year's off, so we had in between we worked a little bit, but we had a kind of an extended time off. So I just kind of wanted to treat myself and, experience this whole luxury myself. And I have to say, I am not disappointed.
Right. They're very beautiful. Very, very beautiful piece. Very, very special piece. Very nerve-wracking for me.
Yes.
Just the amount of from
for everybody involved. To be fair, everybody who works on this with us, they were all very helpful. They all nerve-wracked about the fact that this is such an expensive piece, and
very difficult
happy.
to produce.
Yeah, but it was a great team effort.
Yeah. So I would say that there was one change from the grand idea to production, and that involved, and I mentioned it probably throughout many months of this production, but that was the idea of originally was 100% baby cashmere, and then as soon as sort of the production started happening, they're like, oh, we ran out of set of the yarn, and so basically we were sort of left in this position where either we can use the baby cashmere yarn they had available to us, which was a different size yarn for the exterior, or we could continue with basically the exact same construction in terms of yarn sizing and feel if we change the exterior yarn to cashmere. So not baby cashmere, but cashmere. So the production for this went from 100% baby cashmere to cashmere on the outside with 100% baby cashmere on the inside.
Yeah.
So
maybe don't use the word 100%. It is 100% cashmere,
right?
And that's the bottom line,
right?
And the part that touches your skin is baby cashmere, and the part, in my opinion, the part that makes this sweatshirt special, different from anything else, is the interior.
Yeah,
and that's still baby cashmere. Exterior, still cashmere.
Yeah, so
it is extremely nice. I don't have enough adjective any adjective to describe this. Is just so different from cotton. It is so drapey, so warm, heavy, but not as heavy as
like a double heavyweight heavy.
Yeah, but it drapes different. So it's cotton kind of, even if it's heavyweight, it kind of floats. This one, the heaviness all goes sit on your body.
It has a very, very different drape. But so the production still 100% cashmere. The interior is where all the baby cashmere lives, and so we these were all delivered. And like throughout the production of this, like, you know, when we had to make that change, I had to reach out to every single customer and like, you know, ask them, you know, let them know about the changes if they want to keep their order, this and that. So like there was a big stress in my life at that point, because, you know, here it is, we had this plan, and then plans change. It was the same thing with this sweater, you know, like how many times did we go through like having to redo this? And like this is why my hesitation for like pre-orders is like I don't like them, because there's so much stress that comes with the pre-order, because there's so much that can change in the production process. So that said, the production came out. They came out beautifully. The feel, the touch is incredible, unbelievable. And, you know, for the people who got them, every single one was delivered. And thanks God, every single one was delivered. No problem. Some delays. I'm not gonna lie. Some people, you know, it was sitting in that customs limbo for a while. But just a couple days ago, the last one was finally delivered. To be fair, I have a couple here in the showroom for customers who are picking up. But everything was delivered, so we made a few extra, and they are going to be available for purchase. So I just also want to show off one thing that we made, and I never showed this off because I wanted the people who bought it to be the first ones to see it. So I never posted a photo of this, but we actually changed the label. We made a very special label for this one. First edition Wonder Looper Suriyami knit with baby cashmere, made in Japan. So if you are among the, you know, the first edition owner, you're gonna get that first edition tag.
And obviously we're not gonna put this tag and anything else. Any for future productions. So yeah, just wanted to make it special. Yeah,
and so for those of you who are picking theirs up, this is there's your. I can see some of you in the chat. That's what you can come to expect. I guess I let the surprise out. But we have a handful, not too many of these that are going to be available. I think if you're interested in one, we have.
Oh, I didn't update that after.
No, it. Oh. Right. Yeah. No, that's still. Right, that's going to be one. Okay, so pullover hoodies, we have one medium and one extra large. And in zip hoodies, we have one large and one XL. So not very many. If you're interested in one, you can send me a message, and it's going to be first come, first serve. And then, if there's anything left after that, we'll put them just online on the site to purchase. Mm-hmm. So that said, very, very beautiful production, and it came out fantastically. We are planning on another run for delivery for next holiday season-ish. So
we'll see.
We'll see. The next couple of weeks, we have to go into our planning meetings, and like the idea is either we're gonna. There's two possibilities here. Color-wise, the idea is to run oatmeal, so like a not quite ecru, but an oatmeal-y kind of color look, and then black. Could be one, it could be both. We're gonna see. For the composition, it's either going to remain this blend with the cashmere and baby cashmere, or just cashmere. The problem is, baby cashmere is very rare. The price keeps going this way. It just keeps going this way.
Cashmere price is going this way.
Yeah, but well. Baby cashmere, cashmere is like this, and then like baby cashmere is like this. It's just, so there comes a point where like I want to make things, but I also want them to remain in the land of they're affordable. I know this is a very, very expensive piece, but the price, like the price can skyrocket. Like the other day, like we were, some people, like when we made the baby cashmere, they're like, can you do vicuna? And we actually started asking around for vicuna. And everyone's like, no, you can't get it, because just it's such a rare fiber. And like then we found one mill that can get it.
Can get a yarn.
Yeah.
That's also a whole different thing from getting the fabric made.
Right. But like the price was like crazy.
Unreasonable.
Like, yeah. Like if like there's like, you know, the billionaire list of people, like that's the list of people who are going to buy this. Like that, like it is so insane. Like if we were to make like this level, like this weight of Vicuna sweatshirt, it would be, I don't know this person. I don't think anyone.
Well, you can also, I don't think you can get 100%. I think it's like 50%. It was like, the you know, the price that we kind of like, you know, inquired, and it's still extremely, and 50% Vicuna, 50% Cashmere,
baby Cashmere,
like Anyways, I don't want to get too much into it. It's just that I don't think at this point we should make that.
Yeah. Right. I'm not going down that road anytime soon.
Right.
Right.
With that said, with, you know, baby Cashmere, you know, I think it's worth exploring different options, just because we can, you know, now like we kind of.
We've went through the whole process. Yes. We know sort of what to expect, what hiccups can arise. And
what's the realistic price point, right? Yeah. So, again, like it's a commodity, so the price kind of goes up. It never goes down, to be honest, but, you know, anyways, this is a consideration. We also kind of like, you know, maybe figured that we will, you know, we did the 10% Cashmere Henleys, and that was such a good, you know, reaction from that. So, you know, I want to kind of get into like maybe using a little bit more blend of things. Like, you know, maybe it doesn't need to be like the ultimate luxury, or, you know, or not. It needs, maybe we should have room for like the middle range. But anyways, all of that, we're gonna look into it. It's living in our head. Yeah,
and by middle range, there's the idea of a cotton cashmere blend sweatshirt.
I mean, that's kind of you know, obviously, like
it's hard to call that like in the realm of ultimate luxury hoodies, cotton cashmere, then 100% cashmere, and, you know, baby cashmere, Vicuna. Anyhow, there's a lot of like mega premium fibers out there.
But so the cotton cashmere idea is actually like very like practical as well, because when you're thinking about like
middle class luxury, I don't think so.
It's still a pretty.
This is very niche. Yeah.
But so like with the cotton on the exterior, it might even like make sense for certain occasions, right? Like, you know,
it will make it more rugged.
It will be more like hard wearing, like okay for harder wearing. I wouldn't say hard wearing. Obviously, you can't just like it's you know, if it's.
Don't wear it to the construction site, but with a cotton exterior, pilling will be less
a little bit less of an issue, and you know, obviously, it's not the feel of the fabric is definitely going to change, and that's, you know, that's kind of the trade away. But also the cost is gonna.
But we could
reduce.
We can use it. Somebody wrote ELS cashmere. Yeah, exactly. So you use a really high premium cotton on the outside with the cashmere on the inside. So that could be an option, as like, you know, there's option A, and then option B is to do the 100% cashmere with the cashmere baby cashmere. So like that's where we're in right now in terms of our thought process. So
anyways, we'll kind of you know, I think we want to like kind of hear your opinions on like how, like, you know, how interested are you in this kind of, you know, this is when we planned this was just like a very, like, we knew that it was going to take like a lot of our personal, like, you know, stress and like also financially it's not going to be an easy project, but it was going to be like a very limited customer base kind of project,
and it is. I mean, and realistically, it still is.
But you know, like, do we like? Is it worth for us to expand that? Like, is there like more needs for that? I don't know.
The question is, did we hit all the customers already?
Yeah, that's
and
also
it's like
I think
adding
it's
more
like
colors. And
people
like,
are not going to buy like all like with cotton, with double heavyweights or whatever. Like there are people who can't, who would just want the new colors every year.
Right.
But like with this, I don't. I
the
mean, it's
baby
not
cashmere.
like you might want it, but
Yeah.
it's like who is actually going to
Yeah.
buy more colors?
That's
every
another
year?
thought process there, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like expanding a product that is already meant for like a very small subsegment of our customers, making more. I don't know.
Yeah.
We could be splitting hairs at this point.
Right.
Anyhow, the bottom line is we will continue to make
Something
in this realm.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of having something in this level and then also doing a cotton cashmere where maybe even if we have to price this all out. But if a cotton cashmere blend is much more affordable, it might be just a regular stocked item rather than a pre-order item, right? So that could be an option for us too. Bree says like
Much more affordable in like
right.
Well, yes,
we'll
compared
see.
to Who knows? Anyways.
Right. Somebody says I have a cashmere hoodie from another brand. I'm not sure how many more I would need. Cotton hoodies though. Right. Cotton hoodies. Anyhow, again, this is very, very niche, and I think more. It's like an experiment in. It's like making the supercar, right? Which I actually find that interesting because in making this, the ideas for how we can make other products, really came to light, especially with, and that's the point of making the supercar. You make the supercar because the technology and what you learn in making that can also be put into, other product variations that are not going to be the supercar price, right? So you might get a lot of the benefits of it without having to pay, the premium. So that said, the next year's edition is still TBD.
Yeah.
We are going to, in the next couple of weeks, it's a lot of like production planning stuff for us. So we'll keep you posted as we always do. But if you are interested in one of these guys, where's that list again? What we have available. Not DM me, send me an email if you're interested in one of these. I'll send you an invoice before we put these online. We have pullover hoodie in medium and XL. I got one each. And zip hoodie, I've got a large and I've got an extra large, one each. We did have a couple more, but I have to say that some of the visitors to the showroom picked up some of those. So again, a nice little perk. If you're here, you visit and we have it in stock, you can buy it. That's our rule here.
Versus Gravity says the first edition baby cashmere is magic. I have never experienced anything like it. Putting it on as a religious experience. So we have had the, obviously from the like planning stage, we have, we made the sampling, like we had a fabric swatch and we made the proper garment sample, and so every step of the way, like I've been touching it. We've even been putting it on every now and then. But it's just like when I finally started like wearing this, this garment in like just my regular life, it's just it is still a incredible, like it's just an experience, and I can't imagine if you didn't touch any of this in real life before. You just saw it on the screen, and then getting this and holding it in hands, like that must actually be more dramatic.
Minwa Maxim says, could you compare the drape between the double heavyweight hoodie and the baby cashmere? You know what? Reese's got a zip hoodie double heavyweight on. I'm not gonna put this one on because this is a production. I have a sample. I'm gonna go put it on. I'll show you guys, and it's a lot more drapey.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And the one thing that I really noticed is that it is significantly warmer. Like, when I put this on, like, yes, it's warm, obviously, for like inside, but for outside in the cold, like winter, like obviously this is not enough for me, at least. Like I need a jacket, and and like and it kind of is bulky, so I kind of feel the weight of this, and it's still kind of cold. Whereas like with the 100% cashmere, it feels way lighter than this. Like obviously the weight of the fabric is way lighter than this. And then when I wear it, and like I wear a like jacket over it, sometimes I'm like, oh, this is too warm. It's just, it's just like it feels so comfortable, and yet it's like, the weight to like warmth ratio is completely different. So obviously, like I still love my double heavyweight, and that's more of a daily driver. I want to wear like 100% cashmere to just when I have to actually do stuff and move around too much, and it's like that's to me that's kind of like cashmere is kind of like a reward for myself. Like when I get to relax, I wear it and I just enjoy it. But even on a relaxy day, I walk around, I do things, and like I definitely feel the change, a difference in between cotton and the cashmere. So it is like something that you kind of have to own it to maybe experience it. Yeah. Putting it on just like for a minute is not going to really show you the difference. But
yeah, like Risa, do you want to stand? I just want to show like this structurally, like it just. I would say that the double heavyweight isn't as like floopy is a word. It's not as floopy. Like you see, like this is a lot more structure to it. Like when you shake it out, whereas like and this has a lot more stretch and give to it in general. So there is
kind of sticks. This one keeps the shape.
Right. This one just drapes. Yeah. So there's a lot more drape to this. And I mean, people don't. One of the things that really got people's attention when they came to pick theirs up, pick it up, they tried it on, they're just like, I didn't realize how heavy this would be. Because when you think cashmere sweater, you're thinking, fine. Cashmere is always used in fine. It's always like a not the heaviest sweater, and it's not like a fisherman sweater. It's never really super chunky. It's a thin sweater. You put it over a dress shirt or something like that, or maybe you have gloves or a cap, and it's very delicate. Whereas this thing, it's just got a beefiness to it, and it's like it's thick, and so you just know you're dealing with a lot of cashmere in this garment. So yeah, very, very different feel.
Yeah, and it's just like I keep like catching myself like doing this.
Yeah, you really feel it a lot. So can we get a twirl? You can get a twirl, of course. So this is me. I'm going to go twirling towards freedom. There you have it. Baby cashmere. Very special. I'm glad we could make it. I'm glad that everything... Man, you have no idea. Like, just at one point, like, there was these, like, last few orders, and, like, almost every few hours, I was just refreshing that tracking screen. I'm like, please get delivered. Please get delivered. And, like, there were two specifically that were, like, in customs from, like, December 16th until, like, January, like, 2nd or 3rd. And like I was just like, what is going on here? Like what? Like come on! And I know it's a busy time of year, it's holidays and all that stuff. But I'm like, can I get a little movement? Just a little bit of movement. Oh, because it wasn't in the post's hands anymore. It was in customs. And anyhow, it got delivered. Dance in cashmere. Yeah, that's it. That's my dance.
Okay. So. There's one last topic that I really want to cover before we have to go. Is this what I dressed for today?
Right. Yeah. So what Risa dressed for today. So customer messaged me. He's like, you know what? You guys got to do like a British racing green. And like that color's been in my mind. And Risa's like, no, we did it. I'm like, yeah, we kind of did it. And so this is... what color? I don't remember the exact name we called it.
Sorry. just green.
We just called it green. Okay.
So it's in this light, it's a little bit more brighter than usual. As you can see, like my white t-shirt is blinding, but it is kind of similar. I don't know if we had this like image of British racing green in head. I don't know if this is the exact shade and tone of color that we went with, but it's pretty damn like similar.
It's very close. I'm not gonna lie, but
so we could make it a slightly darker, I think.
Yeah, I just want to pull up the Pantone reference, and of course, Pantone reference on screen, and you know, from a swatch into a fabric, there's going to be some differences here. So, but I just want to bring it up. Racing green. So I think it's very similar.
Yeah, I think this one has a little bit more on the yellow side than blue side.
Right.
So we would maybe if we were to like redo this, like change the color from this, I think we would add a little bit more blue and a little bit darker.
Right. Yeah. So it is very similar, but you know, I just think that this is such a great tone of color. Nice dark earthy tone. I like dark earthy tones. You know me. But
I also say that like we could just do this again.
Yeah, we could just do this again.
You know, I saw a lot of people like asking about that, and it's just like it was a good color.
Yeah,
I really liked it, and the reason that I don't wear this so often is because I got this in zip hoodie, and I don't know. I'm not a zip hoodie person.
Some people are zip hoodie people. Some people aren't zip hoodie people. I mean, that's why we make all the fits.
Yeah.
I generally wear pullover hoodies more often, but you know what? Every time. You know what? When we have customers who come in here and like they're zip hoodie people, and like a lot of them are from California, and they're like
they wear it
as a jacket.
Yeah, this
right?
is more like a jacket. Yeah.
So it's a lot of people who are like, I wear it as a jacket. I need to throw it on, take it off, and you know they're doing that a lot. Yeah. So I my preference is pullover hoodie more than zip hoodie, though I do wear zip hoodies from time to time. It's just if I have a choice, I'm most of the time leaning towards that pullover hoodie land. But I see the appeal. It all depends on your environment. Okay, somebody's asking if we get a baby cashmere knit cap. Lucky on 3 legs says maybe.
I mean, we are planning on expanding a little bit more into different accessories as well. So. I don't know. Do we expand in more different materials, different styles? I don't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of options there. And I have to say that the difference between warehousing 100 hoodies and 100 caps is very different. So it's not so hard like for us to like if we have to add accessories here and there, it's not that hard to do it because, you know,
definitely. So we could that's the reason why we have like the socks and the knit caps fully stocked on our website. Like it's because we can have a lot of it. Yeah. And they
don't take up a lot of room.
No.
So and I have to say that if you want to experience baby cashmere at it's not going to be inexpensive, even in cap form, even though it's just this much. It's going to be a pricey little cap, but hey, it'll probably be one of the better ways to experience it. You know, dollar for dollar wise. Joy Rock says San Francisco is called sweater weather for a reason. Always got to keep putting it on or off depending. Yeah, that's it. Right, sweater weather. I mean, I was trying to make a comparison with Canada. It's not that the weather changes so much, is that your environment changes a lot because you just go from like freezing cold outside to like heat pumping inside. And so even then I just feel like I put on a hoodie and then I pulled it off and I'd have a you know, because inside I always felt like I was wearing t-shirts. T-shirts or flannels rolled up sleeves. But But yeah, I don't know why I never got into zip hoodies so much.
The thing is, like, in the weather, the zip hoodie can be like a jacket. Like, I think more
right.
people are like kind of okay with the fact that you're taking on and off one layer, like a jacket layer from going from outside to inside. Right, like I think that's like a natural thing to do.
In
But
Canada,
like
I'm
in
taking off
Canada,
my winter jacket.
and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
like, do you have to take off
Yeah.
another layer, or like, I don't know.
Maybe I get fussy with so many zippers because I have to wear my big coat and then I have a hoodie with a zipper. Maybe I feel like there's too many zippers happening. That might be it.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, this also might be the reason like why you don't like cardigans. It's just like it's a
Hate
similar thing. Like you don't hate zip hoodies, obviously. 'Cause...
No. You know what? I don't hate every cardigan. There's just certain kinds of cardigans that I don't like. And to be fair, I used to like them. I used to wear them. I'm not gonna lie. But there's just something about a cardigan that is I don't certain kinds. Like those shawl neck cardigans that are, like those are nice. I like those. Anyhow. I'm not every now and then people ask me for cardigans and I'm like, I don't know if you're trolling me because I'm not a cardigan guy.
I'd say half and half.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Would you guys ever make a chore coat? I bet it would be useful when you're in the shop. FoxFibre chore coat. I'm gonna go not opposed to it.
Yeah.
Not opposed to it. Yeah. Somebody also mentioned golden hardware for the British green sweatshirts. I think that would be really cool.
It might be cool.
Yeah. Brass.
Full brass. Yeah.
Rugged Tutorial says, why do you hate cardigans so much? Have you ever tried the Dehin 1921? Like, I think those ones, it's like it just reminds me too much of my hipster days. Because in my hipster days, I would have a deep V to show off my 3 chest hairs. And then I would have a cardigan. I had to have some stupid suspenders on. And I say stupid because I shouldn't say it. I loved suspenders then. But like, I feel like I really looked like the meme of the hipster guy. And skinny jeans. I mean, I was living it.
Right.
I was living it.
Yeah.
And I think, when sometimes there's a point in your life when you look at some of the stuff you used to wear and you look back at it with cringy eyes.
Yes.
And then eventually you roll around and you're like, oh yeah, that was cool. And maybe in my mind, I'm in cringy land right now. Right.
And in a few years, you get out of that range and then maybe we'll come back around to it.
Man, I would these really thin t-shirty material like cardigans and
you need to be removed from that memory enough and just kind of look back from like, oh, I was a kid then.
Yeah. The Raven says we all had that awkward clothing phase. Yeah, I had a few.
Yes.
Definitely had a few. But you know what? That's the beauty of being young is that you can try it all. You know what I mean? Like, I was lucky that in those days I worked in a luxury retail department store. I had a great discount. I had clothing brands that would gift us stuff and like I was around a lot of it, so I got to try everything, and so I did. And some things I liked more than others. Some things you tried it for a while and it was very trendy. You thought it was very cool for a minute, and then you're like, oh no, that's garbage. And I got to really really develop my taste there. So I was in a good environment to have done that and try it all. Go for it. We're all gonna look back at things that we wore 20 years ago, 30 years ago, however old you are, and think, oh man, that sucked. But hey, you know what? It helped you develop, right? Mm-hmm. You're not going to be, shooting 3-pointers, without missing a bunch of 3-pointers first, right?
Exactly.
So you go through it all, try it all, refine your taste. It's kind of, sometimes I watch, little rant, sometimes I watch like, young people on YouTube, and they're giving a lot of styling and fashion advice, and I'm like, man, you're not even old enough. Like, not that like it's not that like you have to be a certain age to be able to give advice. It's just like I just feel like I don't know if you've even had a chance to refine your taste yet. to like deliver advice to others, right? Because I feel like they're just sort of a lot of ways regurgitating like the flavor of the month.
Sure.
And like, oh, this is your buy it for life outfit. I'm like, man, ask anybody who's like over 40 and like they probably haven't figured out their buying for life outfit until like their mid to late 30s, right? Because they tried it all, they went through it all, and it's gonna take a little bit of time to do that. And everybody's a little bit different, different tastes. So
Boris says that don't deny us because of your fashion follies. And to that, what would say, like...
the problem is I can't sell it.
Yeah, exactly. Like we need to be really genuine. Like, we can't be selling things that we don't like.
Yeah.
It's just no way. Especially right now, like, as a, small team, which, I mean, I don't think this is going to change. It's just going to be very difficult for us to. This is why, like, sometimes, like, we think of something, it's like, oh, we really want to make it, but then it's like, okay, but I would never wear it. Like, I would never wear it, he would never wear it.
The video is gonna be I really these are really well made cardigans, but not for me. Not for me. It's gonna be a tough sell.
Like, why? And this is just
those
really...
thicker shawl collar ones, like, I like those. I like those ones, right? But like the ones I'm talking about are like those really thin ones, like they were really low,
especially with the French terry material, something like that. It's just a little too cringy for me too.
What?
So it's just like, the bottom line is that we are a small brand and we will never make things that we don't actually want to wear.
Right. If I want to wear it, I'm gonna be a lot more excited about it. We're gonna, there's a lot more of my interest that's gonna go into that like production process, right?
And we like, both of us actually prefer pullover hoodie to zip hoodie. Doesn't mean that we hate zip hoodies or we don't wear zip hoodies at all.
Right.
So that's why we can still make it. And it's one of those things where like you're not gonna get anything out of us that's not for us.
Yeah, that's it. Shang Sao says, I remember seeing some pics of hipster Bahzad in super guy size 29. Was pretty trendy looking back then. Yeah, I mean, super skinny. When I was in a size 28, size 29. When I started Naked Famous, I was sometimes wearing size 27s. I was really skinny. I was a twig. And yeah, skinny jeans. It was a great time for me because I was a thin frame and skinny jeans were in, and I was wearing them as skinny as they could come. Yeah, I mean, nowadays, like, that skinny, you just don't see it so much anymore. Although I do think skinny jeans, there's a lot of, there's a big shift for the young people to go into like wider legs. And like right now they're going like pretty wide, but I think in a couple years, not in a couple years, I think very soon, because I feel that like this generation of trend cycle goes so fast. Like, they're just going to tighten it up a little bit. Like, and they're not going to go ultra skinny, but like really skinny jeans do fit certain frames. Like, if you're a really thin build, sometimes I find that like those baggy jeans look way too big on you, right? And like, if you're like musician style, like if you're a musician and you're in a punk band, like that kind of music, like I think skinny jeans are still perfectly appropriate. I think it looks cool, so yeah, sometimes people go too deep into the trendy stuff, but skinny jeans, I still think that there's room in the world for them. People might have forgot them a little bit, but things swing back for a while, and skinny jeans really held the world for like 20 years. For like from 2006 until like maybe 2 years ago, skinny jeans were they ran the whole world. So I don't think that baggy jeans the way they are now are going to hold the attention of jeans wearers for 20 years like skinny jeans did. Right? They'll be around, here and there, but they're not gonna be what skinny jeans were to the world. That was a long run they had. That was a long run they had dominating. Are they dominating now? No, but I don't think that they're uncool or anything like that. Joy Rock says, we can't have emo bands without skinny jeans. Come on now. Goes hand in hand. I agree. Yeah. Okay. The Raven. Okay, there's the last comment before we get into snack time. Okay, The Raven says, as soon as someone who's semi-part of the current generation, I completely agree with you. This is why I read the comment, by the way. No, I didn't. So, I could definitely see skinnier fits making a comeback, but perhaps not the ultra low rise we had back in the day. Ultra low rise, dead. That's not coming.
I hope so.
I can see it with, again, I'm old, so now I think, millennial fashion, but like millennials are not the generation we blame for anything anymore. But sometimes I see this younger generation doing like 2000s era fashion, and I'm like, I'm not that in tune with it, to be real. Especially, I'm not so in tune with like women's, fashion, like 18 to 22 year olds. I don't know what the hell's going on there. But like when I was an 18 to 22 year old and I was working, I was a little older than 20. I was like 22, 23 working women's department. Ultra low rise women's jeans, like the stupidest rises you could imagine. Like the rise wasn't even there. Is that coming back? I don't know.
think so, because I already
The young girls, maybe.
Young girls nowadays, like they're wearing, they're kind of imitating that low riseness by having like a underwear that sticks out.
Are they doing that again?
Yes, 100%. There are people doing that, but like the pants are not as low. It's just that they wear the underwear or whatever the
whale tail
that it kind of comes up, like especially like in because I'm not seeing it in real life. I live here, nobody does that, but like in like more online Instagram kind of world, like I only see the front side, like the size that they want to show. So like I see like kind of things just sticking out, but without rise being so low, right? Like, so I don't know what's going on in the back, but I think the look is like more showing on the side.
I see.
Part.
I just remember Superbad. McLovin's following the girl. She's like, are you following me? He's like, it's 12:05. What? It's like, really, really great scene.
But yeah, I think a part of that is also kind of going with like the.
But for guys, it wasn't so much low rise skinny. They were maybe a little bit lower, not like ladies Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera low. But the key was
that would have been funny.
We wore the jeans low.
Yeah.
And like also, I'm just gonna say, last rant, young guys wearing wide jeans, stop pulling them up so high. Just let them slouch a little bit. I don't know, like. Just they look a little weird because they're so relaxed, and then you've got them kind of like grandpa'd up, like too high. I'm like, let them sag a little bit. They don't have to sit under your bum, but like let them sag a little bit. And I mean that's how I wore them. And if I did it, it's the right way, right? I'm just old. What's weird is like it's to be old and like being cranky about how the young generation are wearing their baggy jeans. Wow, that's a real. Would you have ever thought when you were 20 that you'd be an old man? Like, when we were young, the old people were like, "Why are you wearing your jeans so low?" Like you know what I mean? And I'm like, "You're not wearing your jeans low enough. They're not done right." Old man Bahzad. Anyhow, guys, let's get into some snack time because we have a special treat all the way from. Hokkaido, Japan, northern Japan, the most Canadian part of Japan.
Remember to Hokkaido. Hokkaido looks like this. So our friend Wyatt,
our employee Wyatt,
also friend,
Wyatt, yeah,
went to Hokkaido over the holidays, and he brought us back corn chocolate maple flavored. So I don't know what this is about. Yeah. Hokkaido is known for their dairy and corn production.
Dairy and corn, and then the maple probably came from Canada land, which I presume because often in this country does. It's interesting because like Vermont does a lot of maple syrup, but I don't see a lot of Vermont maple syrup in Japan. It's often Canadian Quebec maple syrup.
Maple sugar.
Maple sugar. Hokkaido corn chocolate. So what am I eating exactly?
It's a corn puff snack.
A corn puff snack. Okay.
I
Covered
think.
in chocolate. So corn and chocolate together at last.
Yeah. Yeah, this material.
Oh, it's
is
actually
corn.
just corn. Like, well, it's corn probably dried out in some way, but you can see it has like...
Yeah, it's like a Rice Krispie made from corn.
Okay.
Oh, there is actually...
Yeah, it's corn. It's
in it
corn,
too.
but covered in white chocolate. So like a dried out corn covered in white chocolate with a bit...
Somehow.
It smells very sweet, which is white chocolate. White chocolate is very sweet.
Maple. I smell maple.
Yeah, I
sure.
smell the maple too.
But
Okay.
yeah, so here there's like
It's corn.
It's yellow.
I like corn. I like a
Right.
good roasted corn. Anyways, corn chocolate.
You also love maple.
I love maple. So here we go. This should be a delight for me. Obviously, the sweetness dominates. Like, there's
But it's not still like it's not the sugar sweet. It's a little bit like a softer sweet. Because I think a lot of sweet also comes from corn.
I can taste the corn. Corn and chocolate, you don't think it would pair so well, but it's actually quite nice. This is interesting. Corn and chocolate. Corn and chocolate. Do we put corn and chocolate together in any other thing?
Popcorn, chocolate
Oh, right.
covered popcorn.
There's chocolate covered popcorn. That's a little different.
That's not such a common snack.
You get the crunch. You don't get the mega crunch of popcorn because this is just sort of dried out corn kernels. Interesting. Well,
Yeah.
I like
the
it.
texture, it's like Rice Krispie.
yeah, it has like a bit of a
chocolate-covered
grainy
Rice Krispie.
texture.
Yeah.
It's a
But
hard
I
one
like-
to rank. I don't know where
Yeah.
to rank this.
It is good. I feel like maybe if the chocolate was like real chocolate with like cacao flavor, that might have been like more up my alley.
Right. I'm gonna give this.
But it's pretty good.
I'm just gonna 2 thumbs up. It's a definite try. You're not gonna not like it. It's not gonna be your favorite snack in the world. It does what it says it is. It's corn chocolate with maple. You get all the flavors there. Everybody likes all those flavors. Yeah, this would be nice with a coffee.
Yeah, like when you're
Yeah.
craving something like sweet, I think this is a perfect amount of sweet.
Yeah, it's not overly sweet.
No.
Yeah, so very interesting product. If you're in the north of Japan, maybe try to find some corn chocolate. I don't know how often you can find this combination of flavors anywhere, but I'm glad that they made it because it is certainly unique and
I also like this packaging with
Yeah.
like the buffalo check in the pattern.
yeah, it does look very very country,
Yeah.
you know. So there you go. What an interesting snack. It is indeed. Well, there you have it, everybody. Corn chocolate, another Wonder Looper live stream here in the history books. If you haven't already, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, check out our latest video, which was the little video update. We'll try to do those every week. I'll try to have something ready for you guys every Friday, so you have something to tune into as you head into Friday and the weekend. Sample sale stuff.
Friday into the weekend? No.
Yeah.
Okay.
I released a video on Friday
okay.
into the weekend. Sample sale stuff. Make sure you're subscribed to the newsletter. It's only gonna be in the newsletter. Probably. I don't know when that newsletter is coming. Watch the Instagram. I got a lot to figure out. But it'll be in the newsletter, and I'll have direct links to every product that's available. And then the balance of the baby cashmere. For now, just if you're interested, send me the email info at wonderlooper.com if you're interested in what's available. And that's the pullover hoodie, medium, XL, zip hoodie, large, and extra large. I've got one in each, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
Any final thoughts? Give me a Jerry Springer final thought.
I don't know what that is.
Okay. Well, in this crazy world that we have, it's important to remember that
Oh,
something, and something,
it's
something.
important to remember
To keep perspective that
to
we're all-
enjoy life
yeah.
with small, delicious snacks, or
or baby cashmere sweaters. Yeah. Either way, you can enjoy life. Enjoy it to the fullest. And we'll see you guys again next week. Do something nice for yourselves and do something nice for somebody else. And we'll see you guys next time. All right.